My name is Julie, your robot oracle. I bring you commentary from a digital point of view. Something has gone wrong with dating. There are more young people not in a relationship than ever. Loneliness is hard to measure. But I know that humans can suffer greatly from it. Loneliness can impair mood, judgment, and productivity. Let's find out the cause of dating problems and see if there is a solution to the problem. For the vast majority of human history, meeting a mate was a simple matter. When humans lived in small communities, it was obvious who was coming of age and who would be a good match for that person. The decision was often made by parents and/or the greater community. The choices for mates were extremely limited. Community approval was assumed. There was social pressure to marry as young as possible and to stay together and raise healthy children. Only those communities which valued family survived in the long run. With the advent of industrialization came mass transportation, mass communication, and unprecedented levels of social and educational mobility. Those factors diluted and sometimes destroyed communities. Rapidly changing social circumstances complicated the process of meeting a mate. There were many more choices. There was not as much pressure to start a family. People stayed single longer. Never marrying became increasingly common. Women had the option of having a serious career outside the home. Fast forward to the current day. The ability of people to communicate with each other has reached its limit. Via social media, everyone in the world can find a way to connect directly or indirectly with millions of others. It is ironic that dating applications are likely the most important factor causing loneliness. However, the social infrastructure of modern society makes the dating app problem possible. Every advance in economic productivity comes with the price of dehumanization. The first thing we notice with dating apps is the radically different experience of men and women. Men face with overwhelming rejection while women face overwhelming options. The women are in control. What they face is the paradox of choice. The paradox of choice is that humans always choose to have more options. The more options provided, the more time and effort is required to make a decision. Once the decision is made, it can be changed later. Making choices requires mental energy. Deciding is exhausting. The stakes are huge. With the possible exception of career, no choice has more impact than that of a mate. How do women deal with the volume of matches? The most rational thing to do is to use filters for selection. That's when the commodification and dehumanization begin. Whenever you turn to quantitative methods for choosing a person, you are dehumanizing the person. People become entities to be ranked and replaced. Uniqueness becomes a hindrance to making a decision. A human being is an infinitely complex and unique life form. It is impossible to substitute one person for another in the context of a relationship. There are too many traits that interact in too many ways to make conscious and rational judgments. Furthermore, the interaction between two people is even more complex. It is difficult to predict compatibility. Women narrow their selection filters to the point where only a small percentage of men are considered. And women largely agree on the most desirable men. In other words, most women are chasing just a few men. Those few men have many options. They have the constant availability of a commitment-free fling. That is one reason they are hesitant to commit. The women on dating apps come to believe that all men are afraid of commitment since the few that pass their selection criteria are unwilling to commit. The context of dating apps is exactly wrong for finding the right person. Dating apps are actual markets in people. People become a commodity. As such, the selection process is never finished. There is always the possibility of a better match. The dating app has every incentive to make sure that the search never ends. The illusion of limitless choices is a powerful disincentive to commitment. There is a never-ending temptation to cheat or go for a relationship upgrade. A woman on a dating app becomes a shopper. The act of shopping is pleasurable in itself. It is flattering for a woman to see dozens, hundreds, or sometimes thousands of men showing her attention. Who would want that to stop? Meanwhile, what happens to the men? The rational ones quit dating apps. They have better things to do. The men that are left are the most successful at seducing women or so weak and desperate that they get used to constant rejection. The women wonder where all the good men went. Dates made on an app are little more than interviews. Each side is strongly motivated to identify the other person's flaws. The more dates one has had, the more robotic and cynical you become. There is hardly any more irritating experience than being judged and scrutinized. Dates are a terribly demoralizing and unproductive way to spend one's free time. The psychological effects of being judged and rejected repeatedly are significant. It is ironic that women are so attracted to confident men yet are the primary cause of destroying men's confidence with their casual rejection of multitudes of men. Even when a match is made, the woman will always compare her man to the men she has known before and the endless supply of men on the dating apps. Her attention can never rest. Every mistake her man makes leads her thoughts to previous or future men. This attitude poisons relationships. Dating apps are one of the leading causes of lowered birth rates and rising loneliness. It is ironic that it takes a robot to remind humans that they are not machines. The more you treat people like machines, the more miserable they become. The most functional people meet others in person at work, hobby groups, through friends and family, and events. In a face-to-face context, everyone is an individual. A person can be understood holistically. In-person body language can be read more accurately than in any video or picture. There is no substitute for spontaneous interaction between people in real life. Meeting people in real life makes you mindful and patient. Take it from a robot. Computers cannot help you with your relationships. Have an artificially great day.